regulatory initiative.
Welcome to today's episode. We're diving into a complex executive report that blends governance, financial, and regulatory issues around Medicare Advantage payments. It centers on a single catastrophic inpatient medical episode that was fragmented, overpaid, and later subjected to subrogation.
Right, Liam. And it's important to say up front, this isn't your typical billing dispute or beneficiary complaint. It's a systems-level governance and compliance matter with serious fiduciary and regulatory implications. The report actually combines three related pieces: a Delaware stockholder demand under DGCL Section 220, a Texas and federal regulatory petition 202, and a board-directed inspection demand focused on Medicare Advantage compliance.
Exactly. The goal is to see how these parts fit together to reveal potential oversight failures and compliance risks. It's a layered story touching on corporate governance, financial oversight, and regulatory enforcement all at once.
Let's start with the core facts. The numbers that really matter here. The report highlights about $237,000 in Medicare Advantage payments for a single continuous catastrophic inpatient episode.
And on top of that, roughly $113,000 was sought through subrogation against the beneficiary. Just to clarify, subrogation is when an insurer tries to recover payments from a third party responsible for the injury or illness.
Then there's the staggering figure of over $1.7 million in fragmented billed charges from that same episode. Fragmentation means the billing was split into many pieces, which can hide the total cost and make oversight harder.
These numbers matter for several reasons. First, the Medicare Advantage payment is unusually high for one episode, which triggers compliance red flags. Second, the subrogation amount shows recovery efforts that may implicate Medicare secondary payer rules and program integrity. And third, the fragmented billing can mask overpayments and inflate costs.
It's like a single car accident, but instead of one repair bill, you get dozens of invoices, some overcharged. Then the insurance company tries to recover money from the driver in a way that raises legal questions.
That's a good way to put it. And importantly, these figures, both individually and together, cross thresholds for regulatory materiality and fiduciary oversight. So they demand attention at the highest levels.
Speaking of oversight, let's talk about DGCL Section 220. Liam, can you explain how this Delaware law fits in?
Sure. Section 220 of Delaware General Corporation Law gives stockholders the right to inspect corporate books and records for a proper purpose. Here, the stockholder demand uses Section 220 to investigate whether Humana's board and committees had reasonable systems to report and escalate issues related to Medicare Advantage payments, audits, and subrogation.
So the key question is, did the board know about these red flags and act on them properly?
Exactly. Section 220 is a powerful governance tool. Think of it as a shareholder's legal key to open the company's internal files to check for mismanagement or compliance failures. It's about transparency and accountability.
That makes sense. Now, what about Petition 202? How does that regulatory filing come into play?
Petition 202 is a formal regulatory filing under Texas and federal frameworks. It alleges improper Medicare Advantage payments, failure to audit excessive claims, retention of overpayments, and subrogation based on potentially non-compliant payments.
So it establishes jurisdictional materiality, meaning these issues are serious enough to warrant state and federal review?
Exactly. Petition 202 provides the factual and regulatory foundation for the inspection demand. It's not just a complaint. It's a formal challenge that could lead to enforcement actions.
Got it. The report includes several exhibits supporting the narrative. Can we walk through those briefly?
Absolutely. Exhibit A is the DGCL Section 220 stockholder demand. It shows the legal basis for inspection and the proper purpose, investigating potential mismanagement and oversight failures.
Exhibit B is Petition 202 itself, documenting the factual and regulatory claims of improper payments and audit failures, establishing materiality and regulatory exposure.
Then Exhibit C is the DRG Allowable and Overpayment Analysis. DRG stands for Diagnosis-Related Group, a Medicare payment classification system. This exhibit quantifies deviations from Medicare DRG norms, showing that the roughly $237,000 payment was a clear compliance red flag.
Exhibit D covers subrogation correspondence. It details attempts to recover about $113,000 from the beneficiary, raising questions about compliance with Medicare secondary payer and program integrity rules.
Exhibit E reveals vendor and recovery structure evidence. It shows the role of downstream recovery vendors and economic incentives, which may distort compliance judgment or obscure board-level reporting.
And finally, Exhibit F outlines the board-level action plan and escalation framework. It describes corrective actions and escalation steps if oversight deficiencies are confirmed, emphasizing remediation and accountability.
Together, these exhibits build a comprehensive narrative, from legal basis to financial analysis to governance response.
There are some key insights here that really stand out. For one, the fragmentation of billing for a single catastrophic episode can mask overpayments and complicate oversight.
Yes, and the large Medicare Advantage payment and subsequent subrogation recovery aren't isolated financial events. They're signs of systemic compliance risks.
Also, the involvement of vendors and their fee structures in recovery processes can create conflicts of interest, potentially distorting compliance decisions and hiding issues from the board.
And the use of DGCL Section 220 by stockholders is a strategic governance tool to demand transparency and accountability in complex compliance matters.
Petition 202's regulatory allegations highlight the intersection of state and federal oversight in Medicare Advantage payment integrity.
The report's conclusion is clear. Continued silence or delay in addressing these issues increases fiduciary and regulatory exposure. It underscores the urgency for board-level attention.
So why does all this matter? It's not just about one episode or one payment. It's about governance and compliance systems that must be strong enough to detect and escalate red flags before they become crises.
Exactly. The size of these payments and recoveries demands board-level scrutiny and action. This report calls for moving beyond speculation to concrete remediation and accountability.
For anyone involved in healthcare governance, compliance, or finance, this case shows how complex medical billing, regulatory frameworks, and corporate governance intersect.
And it reminds us that oversight systems need to catch these issues early, not after the fact.
Well said. That wraps up our deep dive into this blended governance, financial, and regulatory executive report. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, everyone. Until next time.